Hey, we're honored to have Winter High School head football coach Dan Aaker with us tonight for the pregame interview. Coach, I know it's disappointing that your Warriors fall short last week in that homecoming loss to Parkston. But when you look at the game, what areas do you feel like were strengths, and what areas do you feel like your team has to do better to compete with a team of that level, possibly down the road?
Well, I think you can probably break that down in two sides of the football. I mean, quite honestly, I was pretty happy with what we did offensively. They stopped us on a few drives, but we still had 300 plus yards, scored 3 touchdowns. We scored a touchdown to win the game, and other than penalties, putting us in down distances that isn't really good for us. I thought offensively we played pretty well. Defensive side of the ball, not so much. And Parkston had a lot to do with that, but they were able to block us one-on-one. We didn't tackle very well. And when you give up that kind of yardage and that many points, that can't happen. I mean, so we're going to have to solidify defensively a little bit and move forward. But you got to give Parks credit. I mean, they handled us on line scrimmage, and one-on-one, we're better that night. And we just hope to get better, maybe see them again, and hopefully close that gap. That's really kind of where we're at after that game.
And field position played a huge role in that game as well.
Well, yeah, and Dvorak's foot, not along with his legs and everything else, he's just a tremendous player. But when you have to go 80 yards every single drive after a kickoff against a good defensive team, the odds aren't in your favor that you're gonna score. You just hope to maybe get the field position back in your favor and keep it there. But it wasn't on our side most of that night.
Our best starting point was at 26. Does that sound right?
Probably right. And the times they even punted and they pinned us on the one too. Yep. So but a lot of that comes with making stops, and we didn't do it. We didn't make stops.
After a physical game like that last week, is your team still pretty healthy?
The one probably major ding coming out of there was Riley Frazier with a slightly separated shoulder. I think he's a go tonight. Probably a little bit limited, and we'll see how it is. He finally got a brace on yesterday, and yesterday was the first time he really, started moving, and so we'll play that by ear, and that's a pretty important part of what we want to do. But once again, Chase Kingsbury will step in there defensively, and we may move Sam a little bit back to fullback just to get Tyrell off the field a little bit. So we have to adjust, and hopefully we get Riley back full speed here. Who knows? Maybe it'll look great tonight. I hope so.
I think back to Winter's best rivalries. The Gregory-Winter rivalries from really the 1920s to the 1970s is very storied. The Mobridge rivalry from the 80s, Vermillion through the 60s and 70s, those all come to mind as probably the best in our history. But this has really developed into a pretty special rivalry that Winter has with St. Thomas More. What makes this game such a big deal, Coach?
Well, I think part of it is most of them have been pretty tight. The last couple we've been fortunate enough, and then the first two maybe they had a little bit, but the 5 in the middle really came down the last possession. So I think that adds to it. I think that adds to the fact that both schools have pretty good athletic programs, top to bottom. It's kind of two schools come together. Off the field, I think maybe the fan involvement adds to it a little bit, and the fans probably get into it a little more than we do. We just really like playing them, and it's a great environment. When the fans are involved like that, it makes it kind of fun for the players. I look back at Parkston, even though that game didn't turn out what we want, that's a great memory for our guys and everybody who's on that field, because you don't get to play in environments like that all the time. So that adds to it. Now we get on a little winning streak, which adds to it from our end too. So it's just fun. I still think it's a very healthy rivalry. I don't think you hear things about fans or whatever, but I don't think that's the way it is on the field. I mean, those guys maybe aren't best friends, but they respect each other, and I think the games have been very clean from that standpoint.
I have a good friend who's an assistant coach out there, and I tipped him off that you're probably going to be run and shoot, throwing the ball 50 times tonight. So hope that helps out a little bit.
I hope so too.
Just like last week, the Cavaliers return a big experienced line. Are your guys up front ready to rebound this week?
Well, we better be, because we're going to have to do better, especially on the defensive side of the ball. As I said before, Parson is just able to one-on-one us. If we can't force some double teams here and there and get off blocks at the point of attack, it makes it tough when you have athletes like Dvorak back there. And Eastmo is a good runner, and they're kind of running back by committee. I don't see one that they really try to go to the most. But Eastmo is turned into, I think he had his breakout game against us probably last year, and he's gotten better ever since. Now he's I would say really pretty much at the same level as the Jacobsons and Sullivans are at. So that makes a very dangerous football player, and we got to keep him contained. But in the offensive line, it's weird because I didn't think the offensive line played that bad. Parson threw something at us that we hadn't seen them ever throw at anybody, and we didn't prepare for. So I thought the way we performed offensively against something we didn't prepare for was a good job. But I think they respond. I think they know, and they're taking it as a challenge. So I hope that we see that tonight.
STM will do a lot of different things on special teams. That's the thing that sticks in my mind about them. I'm guessing you're prepared for a little of everything this week.
Well, that's the nice thing about seeing them for as long as we have. They do a lot of different things as far as faking bubbles and kicking bubbles and fake punts and things like that. And I think over the years we've just got a pretty good collection of plays and things that they've did over the years. And we sure try to remind our guys, or at least show them when we go through our team aspects of stuff, so that we need to communicate, because they do have a lot of things in their playbook, and even though they may not show it this year, it's still there. So a lot of mental stuff for our guys this week, but I think they picked it up pretty well, and there's tendencies there too. So a big key for them is recognizing stuff.
Last question, Coach. How's your team focus right now after overcoming a hurdle last week here? Is the eye still on the big prize?
Well, I think the big eyes, as I said before, is we know we need to get better. I mean, what the Parson game showed us is we got to get better. And what I reminded him is that we're still just halfway there. This is just our fourth game. After this, we got another 4. What can we make strides in the next 4? That loss stung a little bit. They hadn't really experienced that for quite a while during the regular season. So reacting to that, coming back on Monday pretty motivated. We didn't really sit down and talk about Parkson a lot. We just felt that we couldn't, because we need to get to work on St. Thomas more, and just try to put it behind us after a brief talk about some things. But I'd like to focus. It helps when it's another big game, and so I don't think these guys want to experience a feeling of 2 in a row. So they'll fight for that, I think.
Sounds good. I appreciate your time. Thanks, and best of luck tonight, Coach.
All right, thanks.